Hello, everyone. Dr. Allen here, and welcome to Education 380 Innovative Technology. Hope you had a great summer. This video is to kind of help you get going with this class and also just kind of give an overview. I do a video each week for better or for worse. Let me just go ahead and say this before we even get going. I know they are not always they're not always Oscar quality. I usually try to do them in one take if I can. So there will be some ums and ums and me probably fiddling around looking for something. I do apologize. I do try to keep them in that 15 to 20-minute time frame. This one might be a little long because it's the first one. Sometimes if it's a more complicated tech, I may even go over. We are an asynchronous course though, so we're operating on a weekly timeline. I'll talk about all that here in a minute, but the videos will be up just to kind of help you out. So let's go ahead and jump in. So this is, of course, our homepage. There's me if you want to be scared. I do have office hours. I believe those are the official ones I have up for the fall. So there you go if you need them. Of course, I'm in and out a good bit during the semester. Sometimes if I'm out in the field, I may not be in during my office hours, but I will have a sign up. Just email me if you are coming in outside of office hours or if you just want to check to see if I'm going to be here. I would say 9 times out of 10 I will be. Usually it's just every once in a while I have to go out in the field for student teachers. I do use the announcement page a lot. Some of our prior ones from last semester are still up. I'll clean those out. I'm recording this actually on the 18th. But I do put things up each week and anything else. I try to check in usually around Thursday or Friday to in case there's something just to remind everyone. What I'm saying is please make sure you check your email. It's basically our main form of communication in this class. With that being said, let's just go ahead and jump into the syllabus. The syllabus can be located if you hit content. And if you hit start here, syllabus will be right here. A few things I do want to point out before I get into the syllabus. If you look, you can see this on mine. You won't probably be able to see the ones because I have them closed. I'm still updating some of the weeks and such. I have week 1 ready to roll. I do this class week to week, so it's not one where I open all 14 weeks up at one time and you can just go. It is just like, even though we're going to basically operate from 12:01 Monday morning to 11:59 that Sunday, that's how I do my weeks, and everything will be due by 11:59 of that Sunday. I do week to week, so that's how we go. There will be a couple of assignments that go, such as I'll probably open up some of the certification stuff a little early. We'll talk about that, and they're not open yet, but probably in a few weeks if you want to kind of work ahead on those. And I didn't say this in the really quick opener that I did. This course is cross-listed. It is Education 380 and Education 500. So forgive me, graduate students, if you're in here that I didn't give you the shout out. There is a graduate paper requirement for this class. I'll touch base with you all in a few weeks on what that requires. The paper is strictly for graduate students, so it is not for the undergraduate section. It's one of the differences between the two classes. Again, I'll touch base on that. Today, everything applies to everyone. But everything will be lined up here, and if you click the weeks, I will have everything just going right down that row there that you'll be able to do. Courses, actually, I try to set it up where it's kind of the same thing each week, and again, I'll talk about that here with the syllabus here in a second. But as you can see, the first week is already up. The technology's there, the assignments, and what you need to do. So with all that being said, let's go look at the syllabus. And I would recommend checking out all the Shepherd prearranged, like welcome to the course tour, resources, and tips for online courses. Again, this is our class. This is everything that, office hours if you need them. We're asynchronous, so we do not have a meeting time. We operate within a week framework. Again, 12:01 Monday to 11:59 on Sunday. I guess that midnight of Monday is a little bit of a free period. You get a 1-minute free period. But in all honesty, I don't care. Some people prefer to work towards the end of the week. Some people like to get things done very early in the week. It's fine. I do my best to grade as quick as things come in. And what I mean by that is once week 1 is done, I try to get done by Tuesday or Wednesday, the assignments, if I can. I usually email if I'm running a little bit behind, but I do like to kind of keep everything going. There's a lot of assignments in this class, but they're very small assignments. I kind of like to chunk the work, if that makes sense. So even though it looks like a lot, they're not, I don't think, all encompassing. So if you do the work, you should be fine. Just put some effort into it. So with that being said, what we're going to do is we're going to look at lots of different technologies, as the course description says. We have basically every discipline, I think, except for music in this class. We have elementary and all the secondaries. The tech is going to be a little bit broad. I know some content areas have specific technology. We're not going to get into that too much in this class, mainly because that's probably should be addressed in your methodologies classes. So like I always use this as an example. This isn't the pick on this discipline. PE, I know, has a lot of specific technology, monitors, clocks, and things like that are really, really cool. I'm not an expert on those. And that's something you'll probably get in your methodology class or you'll see out in the field. And plus, it's not a technology that probably someone that's teaching, I'm just using this example again, English, they're not going to need. So the technology is very broad. One thing I will say, there's a little more AI related stuff this semester, and you may even see me fiddling around with it with some of the presentations. I'm trying to get better about integrating AI just to kind of model it more. It's a reality. I've come to the conclusion I don't want you to use AI to do the work, but it is something that we need to be familiar with. And there are some assignments where you are going to use AI. It's a few weeks in, and I think most of them are after midterm, but we'll talk about it when they come up. But again, there's the course description and the catalog description if you need it. I'm not going to read the standards. These are all of our alignments and then our LEAP goals. Few things, make sure that you attend class, and attending class means signing into the class. I will say this, if there is an emergency or some reason that you think you're going to be a little late with work, please email me ahead of time. I try to be flexible. I understand we have people all over the place in this class as far as where they are in their programs. We have some people who have not junctured. We have people who are getting ready to student teach. That's fine. But if you're out in the field, I know things can get a little crazy sometimes. Just email me. I can say, if you need an extra day, I'm not opposed to giving that. You just need to check in ahead of time. It just helps me out a lot to kind of keep track. And if I put it in as missing, don't freak out. I can go back in very easily and update it if I have given you permission. Textbook, I did not bring mine with me. I could kick myself. I'm looking around my desk. I thought I had grabbed it, and I did not. It is Tech Like a Pirate. It's a pretty simple book. Our discussion boards will be based on that. And what I mean, it's a simple book. It's not heavy academic reading. I think it's more practical for the field. It's not very big. It's very short. I'm sure you probably got it now. It's very much in that vein of there's that Teach Like a Pirate that I think one of our classes here at Shepherd actually uses. It's from that family tree, so to speak. It has some things starting to be a little behind on technology on some aspects, because you can see it was published in 2020, right around that pandemic era. And now some of the tech is even I think there's been a little newer edition I need to check out. But we're going to use the 2020 edition, and our discussion boards will be framed around that. And I think we can supplement when we need to. Please make sure you do your own work. Any type of accessibility services, you should contact me ahead of time, and they should contact me with the forms. But if you do have any accommodations that are needed, just let me know. Tutoring is available. And of course, as far as emergency services and rave, we're an online course, so we won't have any cancellations in terms of live meetings. So that should be a big problem. Everything's going to be done on Brightspace. I mentioned the attendance. That's making sure that you log in. I'm going to go down the grading policy and what we do in this class in terms of how you get your grades. As you can see, there's a lot there talking. It's kind of wordy about grade breakdown. But make sure you log in. That usually is where everyone has problems, is if they don't log in at least once or twice a week. Ideally, you would log in every day just to see if anything's going on. But I usually have everything up by Monday morning. Actually, let me rephrase that. Everything is up on Monday morning so you can start work. If I get it done a little early on the weekends, I will open it a little early. No guarantees, but I sometimes do. Just make sure you're checking in and getting stuff done. Again, some people do the work a little early, some do it a little late, but big thing is check in. So what do you have to do for this class? One of the big assignments, and that's towards the end, is the lesson plan brainstorming activity. The lesson plan brainstorming activity is one, again, I mentioned this earlier, we have people all over the place in terms of where they are in the program, not a bad thing. I know some people though have a juncture yet and some are getting ready to student teach. This is an activity where you're going to kind of map out what you would do in terms of a lesson in integrating technology. It is not a full-blown lesson plan, but it's kind of getting the game plan together, so to speak, as to how you would teach it and what you would do and how you would assess it. I'll talk a little more about it when we get closer to it. It's one of the weeks. That's the main assignment. There are discussion boards. There'll be 10 discussion boards. I do like it. Most people like some sort of parameter. So I have 150 words as the parameter. I do judge them really more on quality over quantity, but 150 words isn't a whole lot. So I'm assuming usually a quality one will have at least 150 words. So do that. Those are all based on the readings of Tech Like a Pirate, by the way. The classroom resources, I think they're kind of the heart of the class. Each week we're going to have a tech that you have to do. And this kind of goes into the next one, the blog assignment. But for example, if we're doing Kahoot, that's one that it's a choice that you'll have. But if you do Kahoot, you're going to have a discussion that's on Tech Like a Pirate. Then you're going to do a classroom technology of Kahoot. And then you're going to blog, which was this one, and just give me in a sentence or two whether you like Kahoot or you didn't like Kahoot, thumbs up, thumbs down. So basically, the discussions need to be 150 words. The review of the technology that you do that week just needs to be a sentence or two. It helps me know whether you think it's a good tech or a bad tech, or if it's one we shouldn't have in class. I have no stakes or stocks in any of these technologies. So feel free, if you don't like it, you can say it. I will not hold it against you. Also, I think I'll probably say this in an email a million times, but I don't usually comment on the blogs too much because I feel like I don't want people to feel like I'm swaying their opinions or anything like that. Your opinion is your opinion. That's the old social studies teacher in me. I will probably comment though on the tech resources or the discussion boards, or at least put some sort of feedback on there. Maybe just a few sentences or something like that. But just so you know, I like people to know that I'm actually looking at them, and I like to say, hey, this looks great. I like how you did this or integrated this content, things like that. Anything else on those? The technology. So each week, this week will be it's actually just two, but most weeks you'll have a discussion. Oh, I'm sorry, you'll have all three. You'll have a discussion, tech, blog, discussion, tech, blog. That is probably about 85% of the class each week, discussion, tech, blog. And I do want to say with the technology, I don't usually ask for like a full-blown, like massive breakdown of the technology. I just want you to be familiar with it. We could spend weeks on probably any one of these technologies. So for example, if we are using like Kahoot, you'll make a Kahoot. You'll have like, I forget what the assignment says right off the top of my head, but it might say you need to have 15 to 20 questions and images in for your Kahoot and share it with me. And then you'll do the feedback. So I don't try to like overdo it. I just want you to be familiar with the technology. A lot of this is going to be intuitive type stuff where you have to fiddle around with it. So we also are going to do an Apple certification. That's the final. I'll talk a little more about that to the end. Sometimes most people get through that fine. You have to click on a couple of things and it sometimes throws people off, but I have a video for it. We'll worry about that in December. During the middle of the year, we do have a Google AI certification. It's nothing hard. It's just a little class, and you'll just send me for both of these, just verification that you completed them. I figure they're nice things you can put on your resume if you need to, or if you want to. And also it just gets you familiar with that. I like the Apple because I know we have a lot of schools around here that are Apple schools. And I know, at least it used to be, a lot of schools were Apple certification course schools. And also, even if you're not going to work at an Apple school, a lot of the stuff is similar in terms of working within Pages and doing editing on like GarageBand and things like that. The Google AI is just to get you used to using the Google Gemini AI type thing. So, and there's a breakdown of all the points. And again, I don't have it on here, and I'm sorry, Ed 500. I'm going to post both syllabi up here for you. The only difference that you have in terms of all this is you do have the research paper. And again, I'll send that out probably in a week or so. I'm going to let everything kind of get situated here after this first week, and then we'll send it out. And as you can see, there's more breakdown. There's the AI policy. Just again, we're going to actually use AI, so it's a little quirky. But if you're doing like a discussion board, I would do your own discussion board, I guess is basically the easiest way to say it. Um, if I do, I will check them if I have to, but I've never had a problem. I understand there's going to be typos and stuff like that. I'm the king of typos from this thing right here. So, don't worry about that, but just do your own work and you'll be fine. Uh, and if we're using AI, you use AI. That's just it. So it's, if you're making something on AI, obviously the AI is policy is you can use AI. Here's a breakdown of our weeks. And there's some of our links to like some of the AI stuff, but we'll get into that later. And there's the Apple certification. But that's the course. So basically most weeks, like I say, it's going to be discussion, tech, blog, discussion, tech, blog. And we do have 2 certifications and we have the lesson plan activity. And if you're a graduate student, the research paper. As you can see, most weeks I'm kind of flexible. I try to give everyone a little bit of leeway. Most people pick what they're familiar with, and that's totally fine. But like, for example, here on presentation software, there's Nearpod, Pear Deck, and Powtoon. Most people, Powtoon's never picked. And but because it's kind of, I have to admit, the pandemic changed everything as far as what was popular. But Nearpod and Pear Deck are the 2 that are most commonly used in the public schools. So I think most people pick one of those 2. Mostly Nearpod because most schools have a contract with it or of some sort. But Pear Deck, I think, is actually used with a lot of the Google schools also. Frederick County, Maryland used to use Pear Deck. I don't know if they still do. I haven't been over there in a little bit. So anyway, we'll talk about it week by week. So that's the overview of the syllabus for this week. As you can see, we have our week set up. So what are we doing this week? We are going, we're going to go actually to week 1 and just the heck with it. We got and actually I have to add discussion 1 on there and I'll do that. Discussion 1 is actually the one that does not need to be a overview. I'm sorry, it's not related to Tech Like a Pirate, but here we go. What we're going to do is we're going to look at Google Arts and Culture, and this is really just to kind of get an idea or a feeling of where everyone's coming from, and just basically, I'm being very wordy, an introduction to the class and who you are. So if you go to Google Arts and Culture, I have the link up. It is kind of a very neat thing that has different aspects of using art into the classroom, as you can see, and definitely check it out. There's science, there's, as you can see, I'm not going to break this whole thing down like step by step, but fish around and see if there's anything you find interesting. But what you have to do this week, and this is a pretty easy week, you're going to download the app. There is a Google Arts and Culture app. I think it has it on that Art Selfie. There it is. That's what I want. Art Selfie 2. Do we have Art Selfie 1? That's okay. We'll do Art Selfie 2. You're going to make an art selfie this week. And if you go down, well, let me go back. It's a little quick. Oh, there it goes. You have to download the Google Arts and Culture app. And when you do that, I'm assuming everyone has an iPhone or a other type of phone. I shouldn't just specifically say iPhone. A Google phone or whatever. Oh, there it is. I'll show you mine. I don't know if it'll show you on the camera, but there's it's a black icon that says Google Arts and Culture. What you do is once you have downloaded this, you're going to click the app and open the app. And it's going to slowly open as I'm watching. Now, there'll be something that'll pop up. It'll say, play with your camera. I don't know if you can see that. I know it looks backwards, but there's a couple of things. There's Art Selfie 2 and Art Selfie. What I want you to do is pick one of those 2. Art Selfie is one where it will match your face to a work of art and compare it percentage-wise. Art Selfie 2 is one where it actually uses AI and you can put yourself in situations like to be a knight or maybe in the Revolutionary War or something like that. I always usually do the art selfie, and as you can look, it has a little camera, and it'll say take an art selfie. I'm going to do it, and I don't know if you can see it. I will post this up just so you can see mine, but it has different things, and it compares my face, and it tells you about the artwork, and it matches it. Like it says those 2 paintings actually match 60% my facial recognition. I don't care which painting you pick. If you want to put it up there, you can say it looks like you. If you don't like any of these, do the AI one. If you really don't want to put your face up, just email me and say, I did it. I don't want to put my face up. Most people are pretty okay with it. So pick whatever one you think looks the best. And what you're going to do is you're going to either screenshot that and just attach it to your discussion post. And I'll show you the discussion post, but just to kind of give everyone an idea of who you are. It also helps me because it helps me put a name to a face. So let me go back over here and I'll explain this a little better. If you go to discussion board, and where it says Google Arts and Culture Selfie, after checking out Google Arts and Culture app, so you have to download the app, the website, you cannot do the art selfie, just a heads up. Just provide a brief bio of your content area, your interest. I'll have mine up, but when the class officially starts, so you can kind of use it as a model. And then take an art selfie and attach it. Some people embed it in the message. Some people just attach it as a file. I don't care which one. And that's it. Usually to attach it, you have to email it to yourself, download the file, and then put it on there. Some people are pretty good though now that they can just do it right off their phone. So however you want to do it is fine with me. Again, it just gives me an idea, puts a name to a face. So after you do the discussion board, that's our only discussion this week. So for example, I'll have like my picture up there with my art selfie. And then I'll say I taught social studies for nearly 20 years. My hobbies include hiking, golf, reading, traveling with my family. That's pretty much my life right there. Been at Shepherd now. This is my 7th year, I believe, working in the education department. So I'm also a coordinator of social studies and I coordinate teaching and learning for the community of Shepherd at large. So that's kind of my bio. However you want to, just little background on yourself, that would be great. I'll have, like I say, a model up for you though before class starts. Again, I'm recording this on the 18th. And then after that, you're going to go to the blog and you're going to review Google Arts and Culture, just in a sentence or two. You're going to say thumbs up, thumbs down. You can do fresh ratings. You can just say I didn't like it. Google Arts and Culture is great. I don't know if I would use it much in the classroom because I teach such and such, but I thought it was a cool tool. Or, hey, after looking around the Google Arts and Culture site, there's a few things in here related to science or history that I might be able to incorporate and have students check out. So, you know, or videos that I can use. That's fine. So that's it. The tech is the Google Arts and Culture. The discussion is just bio, and the blog is just reviewing Google Arts and Culture. It's a pretty simple week. It's just kind of get us going, and we might have some people add and drop this week. So I thought good way to kind of get it going. And each week that's kind of going to be the flow. So just make sure you click here, and you probably, I was going to see if there was anything else I needed to point out on this page. Don't worry about the TCDA self-assessment right now. If you've been at Shepherd for a little bit, you're probably familiar with that. We'll talk about that towards the end. And the Google or the Apple certification information is down there. I'll probably have that open a little early if you want to knock that out quicker this semester and not have to worry about it. It is our final, but I don't care if it's completed early. So I think that's it. I have a habit of talking fast or babbling. So if there was anything that didn't make sense, feel free to reach out to me. But really, check out the syllabus, do the art selfie, check out Google Arts and Culture, post your bio on discussion 1, review Google Arts and Culture. That's your week. And we'll have a great semester. Class usually, like I say, my goal for this class usually is to make it practical more than anything. I don't think it's a hard class. It shouldn't, I don't think it's a hard class. It's just mostly, the only time people really have any real difficulties is if they get behind. Because there's a lot, because it's 3 things each week. And once you miss a couple weeks of assignments, you're already 6 to 9 to 12 to 18 down. If you know, and I'm using those numbers because that's usually what ends up happening to people, because if they don't do one thing, they forget all of it. So with all that being said, I hope everyone has a great start to the semester. If you have any questions, I am actually in 114C. If you had Dr. Tuttle, I'm in Dr. Tuttle's old office. But it's right by history. I'm doing like a loop or a circle here, but it's right when you come in the front doors of Canuti, and there's an area right there that has like a U. I'm at the very back of the U. So great having everyone. I'm going to go ahead and sign off here. Again, this video was probably a little longer than some of the others. So talk to you later. Let's have a great semester. Bye.